Alright, it's fantasy football season, thank God. I'm Buster Brown and the show is Redemption Rehab. And if you tuned in today, it's for one reason. You want to start winning championships in fantasy football. And that starts on draft day with a solid draft. So let's take a look at draft strategies for position players. Every position player is important, so let's hit the chalkboard and check out the facts. Here we are back here on fantasyfootballcalculator.com, and we're at their main page. Today we're on here to view the ADP sheet, which is right here. So all we have to do is click on that, and we're going to go to a page that's going to help you with your draft coming up. First thing I want you to notice is over here to the left, we have to punch in our league format. I'm over here. You can punch in any of these things to the left here, including draft tools. So come on over here and punch in your league format. PPR ADP. So I click on that. Okay, the next thing I want you to notice is right down here in the middle of the screen. Boom, right there. Data from 1,805 fantasy mock drafts between August 5th, 2019 and August 7th. So in 2 days, they had over 1,805 drafts. This is the average draft position, and the number one player right here is Saquon Barkley. That's what an average draft position sheet is. This is what I take into my draft. So before I get into this, let me show you something that you need to do. You go over here to the top right of the screen, right here where it says display. You have to hit draft board. We're on list right now. That's why list is in green, okay? We're gonna hit draft board. Okay, this is what is known as a draft board. Take a look right here in the middle of the screen at the top of the board. Draft board view of players sorted by ADP. Use this as an estimate of where players will be drafted. The actual teams don't mean anything. What they mean by that is team 10, like right here, that's not a team as you go down the list. Click on the player's cell to black them out. Useful for quick in-draft analysis. So if you're doing this and you want to just click on players' names to get drafted, you could just go in here and have your computer ready and come on over here, and I'll show you when Saquon Barkley gets taken. All you have to do is click on his name and he's not available anymore. Then when Christian McCaffrey gets taken, boom, you put on his name. Let's say somebody skips down and takes DeAndre Hopkins off. If you want to take your computer in and all you want to do is just click on players' names that are taken on this draft board, and I would just bring up this site with your laptop or whatever you bring to the draft. And as players are taken, all you have to do is just click on players' names as they get drafted. And that's as simple as that. Hey, prior to going into your draft, you're going to print this out, or you need some homework to do to figure out what you're going to do in each round of the draft. So what I'd like you to do is for each one of these rounds, there's 17 rounds here. For the first 15 rounds, what we're going to do is we're going to pick at least 4 players in each round that we would like to have on our team. Rule number 1 is you have to have at least 4 players and as many other players as you want. And rule 2 is no kickers and no defenses. You can't pick a kicker and you can't pick a defense. You can pick any of the other 4 position players: running back, wide receiver, tight end, or quarterback. That's your homework. Let's give it a try real quick. Okay, I went through and just randomly picked out 4 players that probably will have a good season. I'm not suggesting you draft them. I had to do this as a homework thing. So this is what I came up with. In the first round right here, I just went with basically players that everybody would take. And I only put in 5. You can put in as many as you want, but you have to put in at least 4. That was my rules after this. I just put in 4. You can put in as many as you want, but this forces you to pick players in every round. And if you don't have players you like, well, that's because either your draft strategy is wrong or you're just going into a draft unprepared. So let's take a look at the players that I picked and the rounds I picked them in. And this will help you to decide your strategy and players you need to get more accustomed to. So the first round, it's pretty clear I went heavy in the first few picks because you should also. Second round, I went clearly there's a lot of wide receivers in the second round that everybody would want, including a tight end. Third round, some good tight ends. Fourth round, looks like nothing but good wide receivers and maybe a flyer at running back. Go into the fifth round, doesn't look like there's any running backs. That tells you better take your running backs early and often, but now the tight ends and quarterbacks start to come into play. You come down here, you got some quarterbacks again, and one of the last tight ends you should be considering, and a wide receiver. You come down to round 7, looks to me like a couple more quarterbacks are starting to go, and some other maybe third tier wide receivers. You go down here to round 8, we're starting to get into good quarterbacks and backup running backs. The people who took early have to have, like Kareem Hunt. If you took Nick Chubb, better have Kareem Hunt as your backup, or what is known as a handcuff. Come down here to round 9, as you can see, a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of wide receivers. Round 10, more of the same. See, no more running backs, no more tight end. You start to get down here in round 11. Look, it's the same old story as it was in round 10. More quarterbacks and backup receivers. Round 12, backup running backs, backup receivers. People taking maybe their backup quarterback. And it's the same story in round 13, round 14, and round 15. There's some tight ends starting to go off the board for people who didn't get them earlier. And if you don't get your tight end early in a draft and all the tight ends you like are gone, wait till later. You're going to be weak at tight end. You might be able to make it up on the waiver wire, but I would at least have 2 or 3 at the end of the draft so that later on in the draft, so that you can have some sort of competition there that might help you win your league. The reason you do this is because you need to do your homework. You need to know who you might pick later in the draft. This will also help you determine strategy. As you clearly see here, running backs went early and often, then followed by pretty good wide receivers, good quarterbacks, and tight ends, and then a bunch of backups. So if you find yourself weak at one position, this will help you to determine what you need to concentrate on later in a draft. Those are my tips to help you get through a draft. I made it as easy as I possibly can for you, and if you do your homework, you're going to find that you're going to be competing for a championship. I'm Buster Brown, the show's Redemption Rehab. Good luck.